I'm from Kibbutz Be'eri. It's in the south of Israel, about 2 miles away from the Gaza Strip. I don't live there right now. I currently live in the Dead Sea in a hotel. But until October 7th, I was born and raised in Kibbutz Be'eri. Before October 7th, the kibbutz was the biggest kibbutz in our area's council. It used to contain 1,200 people. After October 7th, it turned into 1,100. It was very, very special for me to live in a kibbutz, especially Kibbutz Be'eri. It's like a one big family. I think I felt like I was the safest place in the world, to me. So at first I woke up on my own because I heard all the booming sounds and everything was very, very loud. The house was shaking. So we had to start sprinting in the middle of our way to get to the safe room. We got there, we closed the door immediately, and we stayed there since 6:30. My little brother and a friend of his who slept over. So it was just the four of us. We closed the doors. We turned the TV on and started watching the news, trying to figure out what's going on. We started getting texts that there is a terrorist invasion or a suspicion to one, and that we should lock the doors and windows and stay in the safe room. They banged on our door, I think around 7:30, 8 in the morning. So we obviously didn't open the door, but at first we thought like, we're gonna be safe. Like the doors are locked, they can't come in. Slowly things got worse and worse. Kids started really saying that they stopped banging on the door so politely and they started actually breaking in, shooting things, screaming in Arabic. I remember one girl that said, they texted us, they burned our house and shot my mother. And I remember texts saying the words, "We're dying." It was the hardest for me to read, to see kids actually getting serious with it and saying that they're about to lose their lives and actually begging for someone to save them. I don't think there's any way that I can describe the actual fear we all felt while we were in the safe room and heard them banging on the door. Every time you hear it, you're like, you stop breathing. Time stops, and it's so hard to explain how terrified we were. Around 2 p.m. my grandparents got shot. My grandma got shot by 2 or 3 bullets. She had 2 bullets in her liver and one that hurt her elbow and back. And my grandpa had like a sharp nail in his leg. So they got injured, and again we tried to call an ambulance and they literally said on the phone, the area is not clear, so we can't do anything with it, stay strong. And they hang up. You call the hospital can't help you. You call the police, you call the IDF, no one can help you. And it was just such a surreal situation, I think, for all of us. The unit that rescued us is a unit called Okets. There are like a few people in the kibbutz that whenever something like that happens, they're the first ones to wake up, grab their weapon and go out to fight. So one of the members of that group were with them, and he called my mom. He said, "We're at your door, open up because it's us." There was a lot of hesitation and fear. I refused to open the door. I strongly refused. I told my mom, like, these are the terrorists. I don't think that's the IDF, because it was also just a few minutes after we heard very, very loud shouting in Arabic right outside our window. And then my mom, she said kind of like something like, "It's now or never." So she got out of the safe room, and I don't think I even told her that it was just a few seconds where I stayed in the safe room with my brother and his friend. She got out of the safe room, and I didn't know if she was gonna come back. And I think I almost like prepared myself to hear a gunshot or something. I froze for a few seconds, and then I got up and I followed her, and then they started speaking in Hebrew. They lowered their weapons, they walk in, they like hug us, shake our hand, and you tell yourself, all right, that's the IDF. And then we got out, and I couldn't see much because the soldiers were surrounding us, but I started seeing flames coming from many of the houses, You see all the smoke in the air. You see soldiers laying on the ground. You don't know if they're like in position for shooting or if they're dead. It was a war zone. I took a picture in my mind. I told myself, I need to remember this. And then I covered my little brother's eyes, and he's 8, so I was like, he shouldn't see this, obviously. So I covered his eyes. Being with the soldiers just made me feel so much more safe, like no matter what happens. And then they surrounded us and started leading us towards the exit of the kibbutz. Some of the kids with us were running barefoot or just in their boxers or something, like little kids, or in their little pajamas. There were also red color alerts while we were running, meaning that like the missiles still being launched from Gaza towards Israel. There was a bus waiting for us, and also the bus was a mess because some of the windows were shattered because the bus got shot at earlier. Some people were shot when they got on the bus, and they were trying to get themselves to the hospital for medical treatment. So it was such an intense situation, and people are crying and people are trying to figure out where their family is. And it was just about an hour and a half until we arrived at Tel Aviv that everyone sat in, I think, absolute defeat. On October the 11th, around 11 a.m., my mom got a call from my cousin, and she told her that she was called to identify my dad's body at the morgue. I can't even explain really how I felt, because I myself didn't know. At first I kind of broke down and started crying. Then I relaxed, kind of, and I just stared at the wall for I think about 2 hours. Not moving, not saying anything, nothing. And then they recognized the body and they came over to my aunt's house. And I was in so much denial. On the night of the 11th, it all fell down that I kind of also realized that he's actually gone. On the same day we buried my dad, the announcement that my cousin was officially considered a hostage arrived, and we were in euphoria. It was that surreal and insane that we had to hear that our family member is a hostage, and we celebrated it because at least there's a chance that he's alive. So we started getting interviewed and trying to spread the word as much as we could. And then also 1 month later, me and my uncle, Amit's dad, we flew to America together to also kind of share our story, and it was like a hostages family delegation. So we were just there to keep telling our story, and we just tried to do whatever we could to bring Amit back. And after 2 months, it finally happened. I think it's really important to spread the message and also represent, I think, the younger people who experienced October 7th. I'm not a politician and I'm not anything like that. I'm genuinely just a teenager whose goal is spreading her story and trying to do what I think is most important, bring the hostages home, raise awareness about them, because we need as much awareness as we can. And people should know what happened. People should remember what happened. Like I said, we should remember and not forget what happened. And we need to know the truth. My story has no opinions in it. It's just testimony.